I know it's National Women's History Month, and so yesterday I went onto a website to try to, well, there must be some women that they're honoring this year. Let's see who it is. And I learned that women providing healing and promoting hope is the theme for this year for Women's History Month, which I love that. But if you go to that site, it doesn't say who their national honorees are, because they decided this year not to have national honorees. To have it be more local, have it be more in your community, have it be people in your own lives, to honor people in your lives, those women that have provided healing and promoted hope for you. And so I wanted to mention someone this morning who is part of my history. When I was 10 and in the Catholic Church and I made my confirmation, I mentioned maybe a couple months ago that I had received a cross from my sponsor. And when I found Unity, my cross sat on the shelf for about maybe 20 years before I was ready to hang it up again. My sponsor was a woman who was married to, her name's Mary. She was married to one of my mom's best friends throughout school. And she couldn't have children. And so when I asked her to be my sponsor, she was very touched. And we developed a rapport, and at 10 years old. But she gave me this cross, which I hung on my wall for a lot of years. You see, Mary is very special to me, especially right now, because Mary was one of those children of the thousands of Ukrainians who left Ukraine right after World War II. And the cross that she gave me is actually handmade in the Ukraine. And so I'm touched that I can share this with you. There's a picture of my cross that's hanging on my wall. It's handmade. It says on the back, handmade in Ukraine. I don't know if it's something that she was able to bring, that her family was able to bring with them when they left the Ukraine back in the 40s, or if she got it later, but it's precious. It's precious because of what's going on right now in the Ukraine. And many of you are wearing sunflowers. And many of you are probably feeling a sadness and a powerlessness and maybe some anger. The sunflower is a symbol of peace in Ukraine, and actually they export about 80% of all sunflower seeds and sunflower oil that the world uses. And so we have beautiful sunflower arrangement back here by Sandy Fisher, who is one of our congregants here, who asked if she could step up and do that. We're so grateful to her for helping us with this and in honoring the people of Ukraine and honoring the people of Russia as well, honoring all those that are affected and saddened and angry and through this senseless violence that's going on. What can we do? What do we do with all this? What do we do with these emotions that we're feeling? It's a great time to have a burning bowl ceremony because we can release them. Not an easy thing to do when we're in the midst of it. We're in Lent. We usually do our burning bowl at the very beginning of the year. It's a great time to start the year off right, by releasing those things that no longer serve you. But today is the first Sunday of Lent. We weren't able to have our burning bowl because of the pandemic and the fires that happened in Boulder County. A lot going on. So we decided the first Sunday of Lent, during Lent, if you grew up in the traditional Christian faith, most of us gave something up during Lent to show our sacrifice as Jesus sacrificed his life. In Unity, we look at it a little different, of releasing those things that no longer serve us, of releasing and renewing, releasing and affirming the truth. Let go of those things that stand in the way of being all we came here to be. Of being those spiritual beings with the full potential of spirit within us. We're also looking at Brene Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection, and this week we're looking at the 10 guideposts to wholehearted living. And this week is about intuition and faith. In order to release, we have to have a knowing, an intuition of what to release. What is standing in the way of me being all I came here to be? What is standing in the way of me being my highest self, of me being my best self? And then have the courage and the faith to release it. It requires us to let go of a certainty, and sometimes we don't want to let go of that. It's what we know. It's comfortable. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it's serving us, but it's comfortable. So we need both intuition and faith. And Brene Brown says in her book that people who are wholehearted, living wholehearted lives, choosing love over fear, are spiritual people, are people who live by faith, are people who aren't afraid to release and let go. And the spiritual journey is all about getting rid of things that are standing in the way of our true potential, of our true joy, of our true sense of inner peace. She says on page 89, intuition is our ability to hold space for uncertainty and our willingness to trust the many ways we've developed knowledge and insight, including instinct, experience, faith, and reason. We may think reason, it's not reasonable for me to have to give things up. It's not reasonable for me to let go of that which is comfortable to me. Maybe it's not. But I know on the other side of it, there's a sense of joy and a sense of freedom when we surrender, when we let go. But we have to have faith. We have to know that when we release, our world is not going to fall apart, that we are not going to fall apart. And so she talks about faith on page 90. Faith is a place of mystery where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of our fear of uncertainty. We, as human beings, have a real fear of uncertainty. We want to know. We want to know how things are going to end. We want to know how things are going to unfold. It's hard for us. We want to know that there's going to be justice after all in every situation. How many people read the end of a book before reading the book? You want to know there's a happy ending before you invest all that time in it, right? But we don't know. We don't know how life is going to unfold. We never have that certainty. It's the same in our lives when we want to know, but we won't. And so we need faith. We need to trust that there is something greater than what we're seeing, something greater than our eyes and our senses can tell us what's going on. And that requires us to step back, have a broader perspective, have faith, know that spirit is there in every situation, no matter how awful it looks with our human eyes. It's hard to do. I too have felt sad and powerless and angry about what's going on in Ukraine. It's not easy to hold all these feelings. I've heard from a lot of you the last couple weeks and how hard this is. And it is. It is. We need to allow ourselves to feel, not invalidate our feelings. Our feelings are part of our wholeness. All of it. And yet, still stand in faith. Let go of certainty of how exactly it's going to unfold, but hold on to the certainty that it all will unfold well. And we may not see it in our lifetime. We may not see the big picture. We may never know why things are happening as they're happening. But to have a peace, to have an inner peace, requires us to have faith. And we can't live wholehearted lives, and we can't choose love over fear if we're not willing to have faith. I believe in unity teaches about oneness, that we are all one, that never underestimate the power of prayer. And we want to know, what can we do? We can bring awareness to what's going on, like Sandy has helped us with the sunflower pins, with the beautiful flowers, and we can pray and hold a vision of peace and hold a vision that all is unfolding in a way we may not understand, but for the highest good. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in holding a vision and then letting Spirit do its work. We need to not give up hope. And so we'll have an opportunity today to release those things that are holding us back from this, from having a peace of mind, from living our potential. You know, what I love about the Bible is that metaphysically it represents our lives. And the story, the Easter story, here's a spoiler alert. The tomb is empty. He resurrects. He gets through the challenges and the burdens. And this metaphysically is our lives too. We get through them. We don't know how, but we get through them. We have that ability, that capability within us to move past the challenges and the burdens. It doesn't make them any easier in the moment. I'm not saying they'll be easy. But we know the end in this case. That it is for the highest good. Love wins. Spirit is present in every situation. The story in Luke chapter 8 of the woman who was hemorrhaging for 12 years. Can you imagine hemorrhaging for 12 years? 12 metaphysically can represent as long as it takes to have spiritual completion, as long as it takes to get clarity. And there was a crowd of people, and she just wanted to touch the hem of Jesus' garment. Just touch the hem. See, hemorrhaging for 12 years, the blood represents our life. So the flow of life was flowing out of her. But she knew if she just touched the hem, just the edge. And what is a hem but the finished part? The part that is folded over so the fabric doesn't fray. Just touch that hem. That's all it takes, is a little bit of faith. And Jesus says, it wasn't me, it was your faith that made you well. He says this many times in the Bible. Your faith made you well. It was our faith that helps us see from a broader perspective. It's our faith that helps us realize that life will go on, that love will win. I love this quote from the last Marigold Hotel. Everything turns out okay at the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Often we're in the middle of something and we're saying, why isn't this okay? It's because it's not the end. We're in the middle of it. So we have this divine discontent, and we can welcome this. We can celebrate it when we have this longing or this dissatisfaction that something's not right and this longing for something to be better. That's where the burning bowl is such a beautiful ceremony. We can release those things. Symbolically, we're going to put our paper into the flame, but symbolically it's going on in our consciousness. We're making up our minds that this isn't serving us, that we're going to have faith, that we can survive without this thing that's been holding us back, this emotion, this feeling, this, whatever it is for you. Wherever you're at in your life, we can welcome it and let it show us the way. Letting go of certainty that things turn out a certain way. And so we're going to be doing our burning bowl. And before we do that, I want to make sure everybody has an envelope. If someone does not pick up one of these, raise your hand and one of our greeters will bring them. There's a few here. And everyone should have a pen as well. Does anyone need a pen? You might need a basket of pens. So inside your envelope is a big sheet of paper folded and a little sheet of paper. So make sure you have all those. There's one over here, Lene. Oh, a couple, Brooks got them. And if you're at home, if you're watching online, I invite you to join us in this ceremony. We're going to do a welcoming prayer. I'm going to lead you through a welcoming prayer, but first I wanted to make sure everyone had the materials they need. So this little piece of paper is what you write, what you're going to release. So it's not a whole book. It's not a whole book. You just need a keyword, something. And this is what will be going into the flame when we light the flame. And then the big sheet of paper, you're going to write yourself a letter as if it is the end of 2022. And you're going to talk about all the wonderful things that manifested this year in your life. So we're going to be releasing and affirming. So I want to make sure with the envelope you address it. If you leave it here with us, and you can do this at home, you can bring them in or send them to us somehow, and we will send these to you. Make sure you put your own name and address on the envelope. Okay? Everybody clear what we're doing? All right, so I want to invite you to take a couple deep breaths. Breathe in and release. Inhale again and release. And one more time, inhale and release. I'm going to lead you through a prayer that's called the welcoming prayer. Allow yourself to become immersed in the feelings, whatever you are feeling, whatever it is. Let yourself experience them. Let yourself fully feel it without any judgment. without saying I shouldn't be feeling this. Connect the whole, the physical, the mental, and the emotional. Fully immersed in the feelings. And then we're going to welcome the feelings. Welcome anger. Welcome jealousy. Welcome hatred. Whatever it is for you, welcome it. Acknowledging God's presence, acknowledging that these are part of your wholeness as a human being. Welcome it. Focus on the feeling, not what is causing the feeling, not what is triggering the feeling, just the feeling itself. And welcome it. And when it is fully welcomed, knowing that is all part of your wholeness, there is no judgment, then we can let go. You can say these to yourself silently. I let go of my desire for security and survival. I let go of my desire for esteem and affection. I let go of my desire for power and control. I let go of my desire to change the situation. I let go of my desire to change the situation. I let go of my desire to change the situation. I invite you, when you're ready, to write whatever you're willing and ready to release on your little piece of flash paper. I invite you at home, if you're watching us virtually, to do this at home, to rip it up or have a flame of your own. And when you're ready, as soon as I light the flame, you can bring it on up.